Attention, citizens of YouTube. Watch Nightwing's full walkthrough on the Cold, Cold Heart DLC for Batman Arkham Origins. Do not forget to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And remember, I would trade 1,000 of my frozen years for your worst day.
Hey, what's happening, Gothamites? Welcome back to Batman Arkham Origins Cold Cold Heart. We're here in New York City. We're going to take down the bad guys, hopefully. Talking a little bit about GothCorp. I'm just going to wait for these two clowns to get near one another. Hopefully. There we go. That's off to a good start.
Nice. That always reminds me of Superman. I don't know why, but I saw Superman do that in like an old Superman live action thing.
If Superman did that nowadays, though, those guys would be dead. I will say that
he
much.
used to do that to people in this. It was that really old Superman guy. I forgot what his name was.
The 60s?
He was a really famous guy. He passed away in kind of a bad way. I forgot.
Oh, Christopher Reeve did that?
No, the guy way before him.
The other Reeve.
Yeah. Sorry.
Tell me he didn't see me. Tell me he didn't see me. Tell me he didn't see me. He didn't see me! Sweet!
If you guys know who I'm talking about, let me know. I think he was like the 40s guy or something.
Yeah, that was a Reeve.
They were both
George
named Reeve?
Yeah.
Yeah, George somebody.
George Reeve, yep.
Yeah, I saw him do the two heads together. Every time I see that, I think of that. But anyway, enough about Superman. We're talking about Batman today. And GothCorp.
Yes, GothCorp.
Which was first featured in the animated series.
So it's a creation of Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, the dynamic duo of modern Batman stuff.
Yep, and it was featured in, it was first appeared in the Heart of Ice episode, which is what this is based on, so that's fitting.
And it's actually really good that the crew of WB Montreal and people like that, they actually did, I mean, this is the only aspect of Arkham Origins storytelling that's actually good, because it's not really tampered with too much. And they did some improvisational stuff, like with the cast and things like that, which I'm fine with.
I forgot, did they consult Dini on this one, or this
no, this is basically DC's.
But they based it off of his story.
It is highly based on it. Like
Heart of Ice.
Mostly.
And he wrote the story, just so everyone knows. So anyway,
the story before wasn't that good.
Yeah, so it created kind of this villain, but not really. Ferris Boyle.
Yeah, although
he's a villain in my mind.
Ferris Boyle is, oh crap, I already messed up.
He's the CEO of GothCorp, just if you guys didn't know.
He is the CEO of GothCorp,
and
he's a bad man.
He calls his company the People Company,
which I always find kind of weird that he would do that. We got to take care of this guy. This guy's in trouble. He's in trouble with a capital T trouble. Come on. Go down. Why are you not dying?
That's what you've got to do, though. If you're going to be evil and have an evil company, you have to put as much good PR about it as possible.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's what I would do if I was going to be evil.
From what we've seen in this one that differs from the animated series and some of the other incarnation that GothCorp is in, right now we are in a greenhouse room where Pamela Isley, which I actually didn't know she was going to be an Easter egg in this. That's interesting. She's working with GothCorp and Victor Fries and some other people to create plant life that can exist in extreme temperatures so that they can go exploring. See, they're planning on launching things into the future. So if mankind needs to survive on a planet where it's very cold or plants can't survive, they're trying to breed super plants.
Colonization.
That's very different from what I remember about GothCorp.
It's an interesting touch, yeah.
Although GothCorp did lead the way for cryogenics, which is what's right here.
But yeah, and that's what Mr. Freeze, he was the scientist in cryogenics, a brilliant dude, but we'll talk more of that when we actually see him.
Yeah, when we get to Freeze.
But how Mr. Freeze is related to GothCorp is he worked there, and he was working on a project. And K-Wing will fill in a lot more about it, but basically, of those of you who don't know at all, he was working on some cryogenic freezing technology, and he wanted to help people with terminal illnesses, and one of the patients, people that he was working on, was his wife, who he loved so much. And I love how they, in some of the incarnations and stuff, they have pictures of her when they were married, and it's so nice. You can just tell he loves his wife so much. Like, he would do anything, like, just to, bring her back. That's like
right.
his main thing. Like, that's all he would want.
That's just his mission in life. Whereas in other things, he's always, well, before Paul Dini and things like that, he would just kill to kill. He doesn't really like to kill, but he doesn't have any emotions and things like that. But back to GothCorp in general, in the comics, it was later adapted from Paul Dini's work, and it became kind of like a weapons dealer. Like, they didn't do all that much with cryogenics anymore. They specialized in other things. Although, back in the animated series later, especially with the movie Sub-Zero, the chubby sidekick, that's all I can remember from that doctor who was friends with Victor. He was the leading doctor of cryogenics and other things for the type of disease that Nora had. But he's not really in the movie very long, which if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it. But yeah.
Yep.
That guy took a hostage. That's not cool. Oh, I guess we're kind of done with this part because I just turned off his gun. Go ahead and shoot him. Shoot him. Oh, he didn't see me. I guess that was a glitch. But, yeah, I'm sure Mr. Guard here is going to have something to say to Batman. Talk to GothCorp security guard. That means turn around. I want... No. Talk to him. Batman. Prompt. Go.
Crap. I saw you on GNN. You just saved my life.
You have codes I need to access the Propellant Research Wing.
I do. Here. Take them. You're going to save Mr. Boyle, right?
It's not safe inside GothCorp. You need to get out of here.
Don't worry. I won't be hanging around. And, thanks, Not just for me. For Gotham.
Alright, so we've now gotten access codes, so we can go to the next part. Because Batman's cryo, whatever, sequencer thing, whatever it's called, his scrambler, I just wish they called it a scrambler, he can only use it once he gets codes in this one, whereas before he could just hack stuff in Arkham City and Origins, so that's a little weird about the DLC, but oh well. And we can't go in the greenhouses right now.
Yeah,
So
and GothCorp pops up a little bit more in the, I believe, either in the animated series or the comics, where he's bribing people, and Victor Freeze comes and steals stuff from him sometimes to create his machines and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, but for the most part, after Freeze comes into the picture, we don't see much of Ferris anymore because he's in prison. That's which is, super criminals get out. Industrial criminals, you're gone forever, in jail, to rot away and things like that. So, yeah. Let's see, can I go through this door?
Yeah, so since he's rich, he gets to not spend his whole life in prison.
I should make sure that security
Even
guard
though
is
he's
safe.
kind of a murderer in my book.
Make sure the security guard is safe. What security guard? What security guard are you talking about, Batman? That guy's not safe. He's frozen.
I
Yeah.
can't help this person without the thermal gloves
Yeah.
built into the
I guess it
exosuit.
depends on the storyline. What Ferris Boyle really had to do was Mr. Freeze, because I noticed I was reading some of the old comics. I'll look for that guy.
No, that's just a lady.
Oh, okay. And it was actually a real accident. That Victor had. Like, it had nothing to do with Boyle. Didn't purposely do anything. But I know in the animated. Oh, sorry.
I'm encountering ice formations impeding my progress.
The thermal gloves would certainly help you with that. I'm working as quickly as I can.
Keep me posted.
Yeah, but I know in the animated series, Boyle actually kicks him into the chemicals, and he's about to shut down. Oh,
No,
is
it's
that
just
criminal important? Yeah, he's about to shut down Nora. She's in that cryogenic state, and he wants to shut it down, and he's like, you can't, stop the experiment now. There's a chance he could kill Nora. And he says, I don't care, doesn't he? I'm pretty sure he says, I don't care.
doesn't-
Shut
yeah.
it down. You're wasting company money. And pretty much then Mr. Freeze says murderer to him.
Yeah.
And I remember when he said that, I was like, I agreed. I was like, he is a murderer. Because if you shut somebody down, who's you know, you pull the plug on her, you're gonna kill her. So really, you know.
Yeah, it was a
For
bad
me-
bad move by Ferris.
For the Heart of Ice episode, he was gonna kill Nora.
Yep, but in other parts of GothCorp's history, they also were responsible for kind of bringing about Firefly's existence, at least in the 2004 Batman series. They hired Firefly to sabotage other companies that were making similar components to them, like weapons or, I guess, fire technology. I don't know what that would have been called, but you know, they were responsible for that. And I don't remember if Ferris Boyle was actually in that series or if it was just like another random CEO who, you know, is drenched in villainy. I don't really know or remember. I wasn't really that big of a fan of the 2004 Batman series because it felt like martial arts Batman and dreadlock Joker, so that wasn't really my thing.
Yeah.
But I do know that Firefly paid a big thing in his first introduction with that. And then I believe he gets mutated also at a GothCorp plant. So think of kind of like GothCorp was a combination of Daggett Industries from the animated series, like in later incarnations and the comic books, but mostly it centers around Freeze's origin.
My boss has the codes you need. Those goons have them in the organic.
The security guard has nothing new to say to us, so let's try going this way.
And it looks like Wayne, Bruce Wayne, being a shareholder in GothCorp is not just in this game. It's in the series and comics and stuff.
Well, one thing I've definitely noticed about this DLC right now is Bruce Wayne is super fanboy for Ferris Boyle.
Yeah.
Like, in the animated series, when they interact, he doesn't really like Ferris. Ferris is kind of like this guy who everybody thinks is this humanitarian, but
yeah, it's almost
really
like he
not.
can tell that he's
Yeah.
two-faced. Like, you know, those kind of
Two-faced.
people that you can tell, like, they smile at you and you can just tell something's off about them. You're just like, this person, what they seem.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. Yeah, it felt like Batman was like that with Ferris. I'm trying to think of the name, the line that he said at the end to him, but I forgot. I'll have to look that up. At the end.
About
when he
people?
finally, yeah.
That when people start thinking they own the place, that's when something about pulling the plug.
Oh
or
no,
something.
that's one of the things he said to Mr. Freeze. Yeah, he said.
No, he says it to Bruce.
Oh yeah, that's right. He says it to Bruce because Bruce and him are two rich guys. You know that he's acting like, oh, you know, like,
I'm better than
oh,
you.
I act like this for the cameras, but really, so in the Heart of Ice episode, yeah, sorry.
No, it's just
Oh,
a
okay.
video of
Yeah, in the Heart of
GothCorp.
Ice episode, he actually tells Bruce. He actually tells him what he really thinks, and he says, well, you know, it's nice to be nice to employees, but when people, you know, I think he said the wage slaves, when the wage slaves
yeah.
start acting like they own the place, it's time to pull the plug. So pretty much he told Bruce, like, his true colors showed out, you know,
Yeah.
and he told him that he acts like he cares about people, but it's really only to a certain degree that he doesn't. Pretty much he thinks he's above everyone.
That makes sense. So right now we are in a part of GothCorp where they're experimenting with that type of freeze weapon that's used for propellant. So we're inside of a rocket, a very interesting rocket, and Batman right now, which didn't happen in Arkham Origins, you can see he's covered in ice. Like, he's literally starting to freeze because the temperatures are so cold. So I'm guessing soon he's going to have to switch to his environmental, like, extreme suit, or else, you know, he's not going to be able to proceed, which makes sense.
Yeah.
We're just going to open this crate. Ah, there we go. Alley-oop. I can't see because of all the... there we go. I'm going to put on detective vision. Come out right here.
Yeah, and apparently GothCorp is also a rival company to Wayne Enterprises in a lot of...
Yeah, GothCorp was a rival company, and I believe... I don't know if this is sure or not, but I believe Max Powers in Batman Beyond, one of the companies that he bought up before Wayne, when it became Wayne Powers, was GothCorp and Daggett Industries to create kind of this super place. Oh, little movie.
Give me Boyle or I'll freeze this entire room.
Oh, I know you won't. Boyle's got the code you need, and I ain't giving him up unless I get what he's giving you.
What's behind this door is of no interest to you.
So Freeze and Penguin are having a Mexican standoff.
My balls will blow it open. And if that doesn't, I'll be sure to blow your bridges too. Right out of Mr. Boyle here's running.
You've got what was promised.
Getting what I was promised ain't got nothing to do with getting what I want.
I don't want to hurt you, but I will.
Bloody hell. You're supposed to be the genius, aren't you? And you think you can out-muscle me? Have a look around.
This was not the deal we made.
Yeah, so soon. After you get what's on in that back room.
Alright, so apparently Mr. Freeze has teamed up with the Penguin and to give him cryo weapons. And Penguin thinks that what's behind the door is a more powerful weapon. And Mr. Freeze is like, this wasn't part of the deal. What's behind that door is no value to you because it's his wife, but he doesn't want to say that. And Penguin has now double-crossed Freeze. So Batman is going to intervene. So this is a little bit different than before. But also we saw Mr. Freeze's character where he said, I don't want to hurt you, but I will. So Freeze is very different than Batman's other rogues because he doesn't really want to use violence. All he wants is his wife back.
Yeah.
Chill. Winter has come at last. Beware, Mr. Fishbowl.
Now you belong to me.
I'll give you one chance to let him go.
Threats are meaningless to a man who has lost everything.
Whoa.
Wow. Freeze is an angry... Well, he's not really an elf. He's kind of like a super elf.
This is your fault.
Well, he's
You
blue.
get me out of this.
What's Freeze after? Why does he need Boyle?
Boyle's got codes he needs to access some kind of super weapon. And now you let him have it.
That ice is the only thing saving you from getting the beating you deserve.
Yeah. Look, you ought to save our friend Mr. Boyle, yeah? Well, you'll never break through this ice. GothCorp has a device. It's like a drill, a cryo drill.
Tell me where it is.
I had my men bring all our acquisitions to the My Alibi nightclub. For safekeeping, of course.
Then you better hope your men are still at My Alibi.
Alright, so we have to go to My
This
Alibi.
barrier of ice. I better get to the My Alibi nightclub before Penguin's men decide to relocate.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to see Mr. Freeze finally.
Yeah, it took a while. So, Freeze is locked behind this place. We can't leave because we don't have the right gear. So now we have to go to My Alibi, which was in the Arkham Origins game. That's where we fought Bird, one of Bane's lieutenants, and that's where you get the ability to break weapons. So that's kind of a very important thing. Sadly, there's another person who we can't save because they're frozen.
Safely release them.
But hopefully we'll be able to soon.
I'd never survive in a cloud of cryo vapor.
Without my suit, it says I will die if I go inside that stuff. So what we're going to do here is use Deathstroke's Claw ability. Yeah, criminals are just being
and
dumb.
you can definitely tell that, you know, like you were saying, this Freeze isn't really out to kill people, so you can definitely tell it's the Heart of Ice type of Freeze.
Well, the animated series Freeze, you have to remember, in Heart of Ice, he was going to kill everybody in the main building where the humanitarian award was, just so he could get to Ferris Boyle. So,
Yeah.
But they had to make him a little bit more menacing. I remember Paul Dini said in an interview that when they were doing that aspect of Freeze was still going to be a villain, but at the same time, he was going to be a villain that people could relate to.
Yeah.
But they had to up his, bad guyness.
And they definitely made Batman empathize with him.
Yes.
Instead of Ferris, they made him empathize with Mr. Freeze, which was really interesting. But,
Well, that's because he discovers what happens
yeah,
to Freeze.
and I remember when he said, you know, when Kevin, when he was just so shocked when he found out.
Yes.
You hear Kevin's voice.
It would move me to tears if I still had tears.
And he's like, my gosh. Yeah. So, but it's interesting because there's a lot of other incarnations of Freeze before and afterwards that he was just killing randomly and it was crazy. Mostly before.
Freeze!
And so,
Freeze.
like, he just liked killing things and collecting diamonds, and he was just this crazy person. But I really like the incarnation where he has a motive for it. He's not trying to kill people, he's trying to get to his wife. They're in the way, so collateral damage.
Collateral. It's an Arnold movie. All right.
Yes.
So how we exit is we have to go through this door.
Can escape.
I guess we'll just try to drop down here.
This cryo vapor is lethal. I'll need the XC suit if I hope to survive inside one of these clouds.
Okay.
And say goodnight, bad guys. Ow. And that wasn't as cool as I thought it was going to be. Man, Batman looks like he's going to break apart. He's covered in ice.
Oh my gosh.
Come with me. I'm getting you out of here.
Okay, so we're actually going to be outside now, I believe. Yep. Sweet.
Thanks for getting me out of there. What are you gonna do now?
After I've recovered the cryo drill, I'm coming back here to save Ferris.
But isn't Freeze gonna try to stop you?
With any luck. Alfred,
Yeah,
what's the
I think
status of
Freeze
the
is
XC
going to try to
suit?
stop me.
I've just finished loading it into a drop container.
Good news. I'm on my way to my alibi to recover a stolen cryogenic drill. Have the Batwing drop it there.
It's on its way.
Come on, game, work with us. Stop lagging. Stop lagging. And we're heading off to my alibi, but you can see the GothCorp building's a little bit smaller than it's appeared in some other things, but it has the sub-basement, so
Yep.
it's much bigger than it appears. Excuse me, wall. Work with us, PS3. Don't jam up. I will hate you
Fine.
forever. Why couldn't this been on Wii U? There's really no excuse that this part couldn't be on the Wii U because the PS3 just jams up so much when it comes to this. Oh crap.
Definitely.
Speaking of that, criminals beware. The Batman is here. Oh! I actually found out some information about Beware the Batman. It is coming to Toonami, ladies and gentlemen. And it will start airing right around Batman's official 75th year anniversary, because the first comic did release in May, the first Detective Comics, and Tom is going to have it as part of its new Toonami lineup. And this July, the remaining episodes of Season 1 will be airing on Toonami for the first time. Because the Blu-ray released, it only had a couple episodes, like I believe it was 2 that were unaired. So now the rest of the series is going to release, and I'm pretty happy that they're at least going to get to finish it off. But from what it sounds like, Beware the Batman's going to be canceled after that point. It's just going to be a one season. Just sad.
Aw.
Our new suit is here. It's time to suit up and get back to action. This is very reminiscent to Arkham City now. Alright, let's suit up. Whoa. Since when did Batman become Darth Vader? No!
Whoa, he's got a pretty awesome suit there.
The thermal gloves should help you deal with most ice you encounter, sir. And the suit will provide... Sir, I suggest you deal with the last of these activists as soon as you're able.
The honeycomb structure insulates against extreme cold without increasing weight. It won't slow me down a bit.
Alright, so Batman just told us that even though this suit looks really heavy, it isn't, because it has like lightweight abilities to make it still awesome in combat and things like that. It also heats up the temperature so that he's able to survive in 0 degrees and other things like that. So this is pretty much the suit that he'll use to take on Victor Freeze. And it's very similar to a previous Batman suit from the 2004 Batman series. Although that suit was actually all white. It had like kind of an Arctic look to it. But it was still the same principle where it was this special mechanized suit that was able to withstand extreme cold, and he built it specifically to fight Mr. Freeze. The reason why Batman made this suit is for extreme environments, mainly the winter time, like when he's out like all the time, so he can stay warm and toasty.
Yay.
But it has some pretty cool abilities from what I can see. Some changes, there's an F next to the Batarangs, which I believe, I'm not a science person, but I know the F stands for something important. But I'm looking at the Batarangs right now, they turn hot. So when I release them, I'm guessing they'll explode or something?
Might be Fahrenheit or...
Fahrenheit? Fahrenheit means heat, right?
That's yeah, I mean, that's a temperature setting,
Okay.
yeah. So it could be for heat.
Zatanna got a haircut. So
Yeah,
now
she
all
did.
the posters, they're not talking about the party that the police were coming to on Christmas Eve. It's now New Year's, so they posted new posters. But why do the posters look so old?
Yeah, they're very old.
Scan our environment. Not much has changed since coming here to fight Bird. In fact, I think the enemies are gonna... Yep, they're still right there. But there is a difference. Look at that. There is a icicle, or a stalactite, unstable stalactite. That's right there. And they're telling us they want us to use our Batarang on that.
Totally.
So let's see what happens.
Always use a Batarang. It always works.
2 goons for the price of 1. I like that.
I need to start carrying Batarangs with me, just in case I need to
Batarang.
hit something with it. Like that.
Stop hitting. I will not lose to the likes of you clowns. Okay?
Yeah, so I think what I've been researching a little bit about Mr. Freeze is, so I remember in the Heart of Ice is that I think he wanted to get revenge on Boyle. He wanted to kill him originally.
Oh, I didn't want to do that.
And I totally forgot. And he was at that party, obviously, we saw at the beginning, where he was going to accept Humanitarian of the Year award.
Yeah, because he's the people company.
And then, you know, obviously if you guys haven't seen the animated series where he...
Go watch Heart of Ice.
You have to.
It
You
is
just
amazing.
have to. He freezes the whole thing and everything like that.
And he uses his freeze gun like an escalator to the penthouse of the building. That was so cool.
I love how in the episode, it's so well written, it's very artistic. At the very beginning of the episode, Batman has a cold, which you don't see a lot, like in games and stuff like that. But in the animated series, he's very human. And Alfred is saying, you know, if you're gonna go after Mr. Freeze, you might need this. Oh wait, you're probably gonna talk to the cop. But
Cop just said you.
And then you know, Batman's like, what's this? You know, something to, I forgot what he said, something to melt the ice or something like that. And he's like, or he said something cool. It was cooler when Batman.
The only way to fight a cold is what he said.
But then Alfred's like, no, it's chicken soup. Exactly.
Oh, what is this? Knockout gas?
He gave him that at the beginning. What is this, knockout gas? No, it's chicken soup. And at the very end, it's like he couldn't, you know, they were fighting Mr. Freeze, and at the very end of
Summer
the episode...
Gleason asks him, what was that stuff? The only way to fight a cold.
Yeah,
that's what he says.
He pours it on Freeze's helmet, and it melts, it cracks the glass.
That's because chicken soup is lethal.
Yeah, so you never know, and you might need chicken soup.
I am trying to rotate it left and right. Stupid.
I'm probably gonna get in trouble with K-Wing because I bring up weird questions, but one thing I never can figure out is, was Mr. Freeze really using company money inappropriately? Everywhere I look, people say a different thing. So
I'll answer that real quick. Let's get reacquainted with our friend Loose Lips. Remember this guy? We threw him off a roof. The beginning, or near the beginning.
Stole a cryogenic drill from GothCorp.
Well, yeah, but it ain't here. Bigwood said to sell off the parts. It's in pieces.
Where are they?
I'll tell you. Just don't drop me off a roof, okay?
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. He's not going to drop him off a building. So we got our useful data. The drill has been broken up into parts by the Penguin, so we're going to have to go and retrieve the different components, which we'll do next time. But to answer your question, Mr. Freeze was not using funds without permission. Ferris Boyle canceled funding because he lost $3 million.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze was in a lab that was sanctioned, and it was for medical purposes, so the insurance company was covering things. Everything was completely legal. Freeze was not one of the type of people to go and just break the law. He was a law-abiding citizen. He was not really a wealthy person, but he was a very respected cryogenics doctor.
He was a smart guy.
Very smart guy. So Ferris Boyle, who does some shady things and in some incarnations makes weaponry similar to like Lex Luthor and things like that, he was supposed to be the animated series version of like a Gotham Lex Luthor. So he's like very well dressed, and he was voiced by the Joker, Mark Hamill, which
Oh yeah, he was. Wasn't that before he ever voiced the Joker?
Yeah.
Or that was the first thing he voiced.
Yep, because
the
the guy who played the clown from It was the original voice of the Joker, but they decided that he would be too extreme a voice, so they decided against using him.
And I think when he voiced Ferris, they kind of looked at him like, wasn't that part of the reason they chose him?
That was Mark Hamill's only role, and then they were like, you know what? We could totally see you doing another voice, and he tried out for the Joker, and that's how Mark Hamill became the Joker, because of his role as Ferris Boyle.
The more you know.
Which he did win an Emmy for. Mark Hamill won, I believe it was Best Villain or something, because that episode won a couple Emmys. Music, story, villain, and some other stuff.
Yep.
Sir, your map has been updated with the locations of the components you'll need to rebuild the cryogenic drill.
Thanks, Alfred. I'm on it.
Alright, gamers, that's going to conclude this installment of our second or third episode of Batman Arkham Origins Cold Heart. I can't really remember. Join us next time as we assemble parts of the missing stupid drill thing.
Cryogenic drill?
Yeah, that thing. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch. Freeze, take us out. It's a bit chilly in here.
It can't end this way. No matter, I'll have my vengeance tomorrow with a continuation of Batman Arkham Origins. Remember to share this video with your friends and family. Subscribing would be logical as well. Farewell.